What's up and welcome to my YouTube channel, Pochoklak. This video will be the very first review on this channel and it will be on the Arsenale Avventurina from Venezianico. Venezianico is an Italian brand. They were founded in 2017. They believe they are bringing about the renaissance of Italian watchmaking, and based on their designs, I think they're pretty much doing that. Looking at the prominent Italian brands, they have kept on coming back to what has worked for them. So I tend to agree with Venezianico, and I like the vision here. Full disclosure though, Venezianico sent over this watch to review, and they're not asking for it back. Thank you so much, Venezianico team, for the trust. While they did provide this watch, I will be doing my best to be unbiased in this review. Now, a quick overview of the Arsenale Avventurina. It's an integrated bracelet sports watch. This one specifically comes on a blue rubber strap, and it has the Aventurine dial, which, as I said in the unboxing video, I'm quite excited to talk about. So, without spending too much time on me babbling, let's get right to the review. Alright, so let's talk about the case of the Arsenale Avventurina first. So I think the size of the case and the lug-to-lug will please most watch wearers. The case size is 40 millimeters in terms of diameter, and lug-to-lug comes in at 44 millimeters. 40 millimeters does seem to be the starting point for most integrated bracelet sports watches. So quite notably, the 12 from Christopher Ward, the PRX from Tissot, and the Seyosa and Zenshin models from Citizen, they all launched with the sole option at 40 millimeters, and that just means 40 millimeters seems to be the sweet spot when it comes to these types of watches. The case primarily has a satin finish. It has chamfered edges while the bezel is smooth, but it has a coin edge base, as you will see here. And I think that the signed screw down crown is quite substantial on the Arsenale, and the knurling makes operating the movement a bit easier. This has a water resistance of 5 bar or 50 meters, and while this is an integrated bracelet sports watch, that kind of makes this a bit more dressy than sporty. And the rubber strap, I would say, adds to that. So you'll see the rubber strap, it continues the chamfer from the case, so that's quite a nice touch. It has a buckle and tang, and there are a lot of logos of Venezianico here. So they have the Venezianico cross. It's signed underneath as well, you will see here. And there's a lot of branding here basically, but I think the case and strap combo makes this a great option, and I think the blue on the rubber strap matches the dial quite well. Before we talk about the dial, the Avventurina, let's talk about the thickness first. So the Arsenale Avventurina comes in at 9.95 millimeters. That's 1 millimeter thicker than the release version. That's 11%. And I think that the thickness or the thinness is one of the defining characteristics of the Arsenale. Immediately catching the eye is a dial that resembles a starry night sky. There is a minute track that is quite standard in what looks to be the color navy blue. Now, the base version of the Arsenale came with the Côte de Genève pattern that made legibility quite a challenge. But here, the Aventurine dial improves legibility in spades. The hands are no longer skeletonized and the hour markers have been thickened. This allows the Aventurine to shine instead of detract from the overall dial design. Aventurine being a material that was discovered by Murano artisans in Venice, I think this makes the dial make sense in terms of authenticity. Venezianico believed their watches to be the renaissance of Italian watchmaking, and leaning into that history, I think, aligns with that branding. A couple of weeks ago, I saw an Olongonzona Saxonia with an Aventurine dial, and I think this one matches that dial quite reasonably. And I think history-wise, the use of Aventurine here can be perceived to be more authentic, or at least more authentic feeling. The Venezianico cross sits between the 12 o'clock marker and the center of the dial, and you'll see the branding Venezianico in all capital letters just below the 6 o'clock. The minimalistic branding here, I think, allows the Aventurine dial to shine, take the center stage, and here, truly, it is the star of the show. The movement inside the watch is a Miyota 9039. I think this can go toe-to-toe with most ETA and Sellita movements, as it does have a 4 Hz movement. It's quite a smooth sweep, I would say. And in terms of the accuracy, it's at -10 to +30 seconds per day. That movement is tucked behind the Caseback, and you'll see the Caseback here is very artistic. That's the Arsenale in Venice. It's the shipyard in Venice. And I think Venezianico are quite well known for having casebacks that depict historical locations in Venice. So I think this is a nice touch, and I think that adds a lot of character to this watch. So let's talk about the wearing experience of this watch. I was lucky enough to wear this watch for a full weekend, on Mother's Day weekend, no less. And this watch, it's quite comfortable on my 7-inch wrist. And even as I'm filming this, I'm just looking at this dial, and I get really distracted. And I think that takes center stage when thinking about the wearing experience of this watch. I found myself in these moments where when I'm trying to look at the time, but I find myself, just staring at that dial. I'm a sucker for great dials. For example, I own the SLA 055, and I get lost in that, but not as much as I get lost in this. I've been on the hunt for an Aventurine dial, and I think this one really solved that dilemma of mine. And as I said, comfort-wise, it's pretty good, even on the rubber strap. And that's it for the wearing experience. I think this wears great. It's a great look. I think it's a looker. Most of the people who I spent time with really looked at this dial, and they were enamored at it. And that's what the wearing experience is about this watch. It's comfortable, yes. The case is nicely finished, yes. Does it have a premium looking feel to it? Yes. But really, it's the dial that will dictate the wearing experience for this watch. Let's talk about the price. So this one comes in at 800 euros. Depending on where you are, you would still have to pay custom duties and taxes. I think this is great value for money. This is affordable luxury for me. And if there were a different brand on the dial, they will charge you for multiples more than what Venezianico are charging you for in this watch. So I think this is great value for money. I think this watch punches well above its weight with the premium finish on the case, and that Aventurine dial, as I've said, is really beautiful. So who is this watch for? I think this watch is for an enthusiast who already has a couple of watches. This is for when you want to be a bit more creative, you want to be a bit more playful. What can I improve about this watch? I think, for starters, the strap. I think on a leather strap, this would look amazing. I have read and I have watched some of the reviews on this watch, and I share the sentiment that there seems to be a confused feeling with this watch. It's dressy, but on the rubber strap. It's trying to be sporty, and I really think it's more suited for the dressier side of things, and that's why I will definitely buy the Canova bracelet. So if you want the Canova bracelet, that's 100 euros more on top of this, but I think it's well worth it. Aside from the strap, also just the case size. And so I think a 38 millimeter version of this watch would be just fantastic, and I would buy that in a heartbeat. You know, even if I think this is a great watch, I think some things can be improved, and if Venezianico consider some of those feedback, I think this will be a no-brainer for most people, for most watch enthusiasts out there. But as I always say, that's just my opinion. You might have a different take. Let me know what you think about this watch. Do hit the like button if you like this type of content, especially this being the first review on this channel. That will help me get a feel for, okay, do people want this type of content. Also comment on how you think I can improve on future reviews, watches that you would like me to review, and subscribe to the channel. That really helps me a lot. More than 90% of you are not subscribed, and hitting the bell icon also helps this channel quite a bit. Thank you so much for watching this review. Thank you so much, Venezianico, for providing this watch for me to review. And I'll see you all in the next one. Laters, yo!